Hello, sleepy thinkers, and welcome to Sleepy Science Teller, where we drift through science slowly and gently, letting curiosity guide us into calmness. Tonight, we'll follow the faint glow of a tiny creature that turns warm summer nights into fields of living stars, the gentle, glowing firefly. Fireflies are among nature's quietest wonders. They make no sound. They flutter softly through the air, yet they light the darkness with a magic all their own. But why do fireflies glow in the dark? How does their light come alive, so pure and peaceful? And what does this soft glimmer mean in the language of life itself? Tonight, we'll find out together. Before we begin, take a moment to relax your shoulders, let your breathing slow down, and if you'd like, share in the comments where in the world you are watching from and what time it is right now. It's beautiful to think that somewhere across the world, many others are falling asleep under the same night sky. And if you'd like more quiet journeys like this one, please gently tap the like button and subscribe. Your support helps keep our lights glowing softly through the night. Have you ever stepped outside on a still summer night and seen the air come alive with tiny wandering lights? They drift, they shimmer, they rise and fall like slow-moving stars, hovering above the grass or floating between the trees. Those soft glimmers belong to one of nature's most gentle miracles, the firefly. In the hush of evening, when the last traces of daylight fade, and the warm breath of the earth begins to settle, the fireflies awaken. They blink once, then again, tiny signals pulsing through the darkness, as if the night itself were breathing in rhythm. Children have chased them for centuries, cupping glowing insects in small hands, marveling at the living light that flickers softly inside. Ancient poets wrote about them. Farmers used their glows to mark the start of summer, and travelers once thought they were wandering souls, guiding the lost back home. But the truth of their light is both simpler and far more wonderful. For fireflies do not just shine, they communicate. Each small flash is a language of timing and pattern, a whisper between creatures, a conversation of light written across the night sky. If you listen closely, not with your ears but with your attention, you can almost feel the rhythm of their dance. One spark here, another there, slowly spreading until the meadow glimmers, like a sky turned upside down. Scientists call this phenomenon synchronous flashing. In certain parts of the world, like the forests of Southeast Asia or the Smoky Mountains of Tennessee, thousands of fireflies blink together, their pulses perfectly aligned. It looks like a natural heartbeat, as though the whole forest were alive and breathing light. No human orchestra could match it, yet these creatures perform it effortlessly, night after night, guided by instinct, by ancient chemical codes, by an unspoken harmony that connects them all. Their quiet magic isn't just in the glow we see, but in the feeling it gives, the way it slows time, reminding us that even the smallest beings can turn darkness into beauty. Imagine a wide meadow now. The air is heavy with the scent of damp earth and wildflowers. Crickets sing their endless lullaby, and a soft breeze moves the tall grass. In that half-light between sunset and true night, tiny sparks begin to appear. They drift upwards, a few at first, then dozens, then hundreds. Soon, the whole meadow shimmers like liquid gold. The fireflies are dancing, not in chaos, but in calm conversation. Each light a gentle heartbeat in the great pulse of the world. And as you watch, the world seems quieter. Your breathing slows. The noise of the day fades. Only the glow remains. To truly understand their quiet magic, we must travel deeper into the story of how humans and fireflies have shared the same nights for thousands of years, long before electricity. Fireflies were the only lights that wandered freely in the dark, in rural villages, where moonlight guided travelers home. People often saw them as messengers, tiny spirits carrying warmth through the night air. In Japanese folklore, they are called Hataru. Poets wrote their glow as the embodiment of fleeting love, fragile, beautiful, and short-lived, a light that burns softly, then fades into memory. In Native American stories, fireflies were thought to be sparks from the stars that had fallen to the earth. Children would mimic their blinking with small embers, believing that catching one could bring luck or wisdom from the night sky. Even in science, before we knew the chemistry behind their light, naturalists called them living lanterns. Charles Darwin himself once described seeing glowing beetles while traveling in South America, their green lights illuminating the dark interior of his tent. He wrote that they seemed to fill the air with fire. But perhaps what draws us most to fireflies is their rhythm, the gentle pattern of their glow. Unlike artificial light, it doesn't pierce or blind. It pulses slowly, like a lullaby written in light. Each flash, though short, carries a purpose. It might be a call to a mate, a warning to predators, or simply the firefly's way of marking its place in the vast night. If you've ever stood in a quiet field surrounded by them, you'll know how easily time disappears. Minutes stretch, the air thickens, and the only motion that matters is the rise and fall of light itself. Some researchers believe that our fascination may come from something deep inside us, an ancient instinct, a memory of firelight that once kept our ancestors safe. The glow of fireflies may awaken that same comfort, that same warmth, the reminder that light can live even in darkness. So when you see them dancing, know that you're watching more than insects. You're seeing chemistry, history, poetry, and life woven together in a soft, silent symphony. Their quiet magic is not loud or demanding. It does not seek attention. It simply invites you to pause, to breathe, to notice that the world is still full of wonder. Let's linger here a little longer, beneath the whispering trees, where the night hums gently around us. The glow of the firefly is steady now, rising and falling like ocean waves. If you watch carefully, you'll notice that each spark lasts less than a second, yet it leaves a soft impression, a memory that glows behind your eyes. This is the true heart of their magic, ephemeral, delicate, yet deeply peaceful. In a world filled with constant brightness, fireflies remind us that not all light needs to last forever. Some light is meant to flicker, to exist only for a heartbeat, and then surrender to the dark, making the next glow feel even more precious. Scientists estimate that fireflies have existed for over 100 million years, long before humans walked the earth, long before cities or electricity. These tiny creatures were already perfecting their quiet art of shining. Imagine them glowing through ancient forests, beside dinosaurs and giant ferns, their light marking the same rhythm that still pulses today. The fact that they remain unchanged in purpose, pure in beauty, is itself a miracle of nature's patience. Tonight, as we drift deeper into calm, think of a world where each glowing spark is a gentle reminder that even in silence life speaks. that even the smallest wings can carry light enough to fill the night. And perhaps in that soft realization, you'll feel the same stillness that fills the meadow, the same peace that moves through every pulse of light. Fireflies, the tiny, glowing dancers of summer, show us that wonder doesn't always roar. Sometimes it simply glows. When we think of insects, we often imagine buzzing wings, quick movements, and creatures that scurry or hum through the daylight. But fireflies are different. They do not rush. They do not seek the sun. Their whirl begins when most others fall silent. As twilight deepens, the air itself changes. Colors fade, the temperature cools, and the voices of day, crickets, frogs, the rustle of leaves, begin to form a quiet orchestra. And then, almost shyly, the fireflies appear. They are not flies at all, but beetles belonging to the family Lampyridae. Hidden beneath their delicate wings is the same structure found in other beetles. Hard wing covers that protect the body, and soft inner wings for flight. But what makes them truly unique is not their shape or their wings, but what glows inside. In the natural world, only a few insects can produce light. Some glowworms, click beetles, and rare species of fungus gnats share this bioluminescent gift. But among them all, fireflies are the most widespread, the most visible, and the most graceful in how they use their light. Imagine this. You are in a quiet forest, and as dusk descends, you see hundreds of tiny sparks begin to rise. Each spark belongs to an individual creature, flying gently, its soft abdomen lighting up like a breathing lamp. There's no noise, no rush, only light suspended in still air. The firefly's glow is not random. It is precise. Each blink is timed, each pattern meaningful. It can attract a mate, warn away a predator, or signal identity to others of the same species. In a way, fireflies have mastered a language that no other insect has learned so beautifully, a language of rhythm and radiance. But the firefly's uniqueness goes beyond its glow. Their light is alive. It is not borrowed, reflected, or trapped. It's made within them. A delicate symphony of biology and chemistry, of energy transformed into beauty. Think about that. Every other light we know of, the stars, the lamps, the fires, requires burning or reflection. But fireflies shine without heat, without fuel, without harm. They are nature's quiet engineers of perfection, creators of cold light. And yet, what makes them so captivating isn't only science, it's the feeling they bring. They belong to that rare group of creatures that bridge the space between reason and wonder. We can explain their glow through chemistry, but we feel it through awe. Perhaps that's why people around the world see them as symbols of hope and renewal, a reminder that even in the dark, something alive can still shine. When you think about it, the firefly has no reason to glow as beautifully as it does. It could simply survive, hidden and unnoticed, yet it chooses, in its own natural way, to light the night for all who will pause to see. It doesn't just live, it illuminates. And that simple choice sets it apart from every other insect on Earth. Now, let's move even closer and imagine what life feels like for a firefly. During the day, it hides among tall grasses, resting beneath leaves where the light can't reach. Its body, no bigger than a paper clip, is covered in a fine armor of gold and brown. But inside, deep within its cells, is a secret waiting for nightfall. As dusk approaches, its internal rhythm begins to change. Tiny biochemical signals start to build, a readiness to spark. When the air cools and the shadows stretch long, it takes flight, and that inner chemistry awakens. In perfect timing, its body begins to glow. The firefly's abdomen, where the light is made, contains special cells called photocytes. No other insect has these cells in such abundance. They form a natural lantern inside the body, and when the right conditions are met, they flicker to life. Now, here's something even more fascinating. Each species of firefly has its own light rhythm. Some blink once every few seconds. Others create long pulses, and some even synchronize with hundreds of others nearby. This means that fireflies not only produce light, they control it with precision. Their flashing isn't just beauty, it's communication. A visual heartbeat that carries information through the air without sound. Insects usually communicate through scent, pheromones, or vibration. Ants follow trails of smell. Bees dance to share direction. Crickets sing through the friction of wings. But fireflies, they speak through silence. Their light is their language. Visible, gentle, and peaceful. That alone makes them remarkable. They've evolved a way to talk, to find love, to stay safe, all through light alone. No buzzing, no noise, just soft flashes that float through the dark like living poetry. And it's not just their biology that's unique. Their timing is, too. Fireflies appear at the edge of day and night, when shadows and colors blend, and the world is neither fully awake nor fully asleep. They are twilight's messengers, creatures of the in-between, not bound to the brightness of day, nor the silence of full darkness. They exist in that calm border, where stillness feels alive. Perhaps that's why we notice them so much, because they appear when everything else slows down, when our minds grow quieter and our senses open. They arrive exactly when we are ready to see them. There's another layer to their uniqueness, something that connects deeply with how nature works. Most animals, even insects, rely on the environment to guide their behavior. The rising sun, the temperature, the length of the day. But fireflies, in a sense, create their own rhythm. They bring their own light into existence and time their actions around it. It's as though they carry a piece of the cosmos inside, a spark that follows its own rules. In Japan, the synchronized dance of fireflies is called hatarugari, the watching of fireflies. Families gather by rivers at night, just to witness this living light. No fireworks, no sounds, only silence and hundreds of glowing wings. It's a reminder that sometimes the most powerful displays of nature happen quietly and in the scientific world. Fireflies are treasured not just for their beauty, but for their usefulness. The enzyme that helps them glow, luciferase, is used in modern laboratories to study how cells use energy. In medical research, firefly light helps scientists see inside living cells, track gene activity, and understand diseases, all because these tiny beetles carry natural light within them. Imagine that, a creature so small and silent, helping humans unravel the mysteries of life itself. So yes, fireflies are insects, but they are also artists, scientists, and storytellers of the night. They blur the line between biology and poetry, and as they rise through the dusk, their glowing wings whisper a truth that feels timeless, that even the simplest life, when it glows from within, becomes extraordinary. There is something timeless, almost sacred, about light that comes from life itself. We are used to the glow of electricity, the warm flicker of a candle, or the brilliant fire of the sun. But bioluminescence, that's a different kind of magic. It is the quiet, inner light of living things, a glow born not from flame or filament, but from chemistry, harmony, and the gentle whisper of molecules at work. The word bioluminescence comes from two roots, bio meaning life, and lumen meaning light. Together, they describe one of the most astonishing miracles in all of nature, the ability of certain organisms to produce their own light, from the deep sea to the forest floor, from jellyfish and plankton to mushrooms, worms, and fireflies. This living light appears in many forms, but no matter where it shines, it shares one truth. Light created by life, for life. To understand how this works, we have to step into the invisible world of chemical reactions. Inside every glowing creature, there's a small, beautiful process happening, a meeting between a molecule called luciferin and an enzyme called luciferase. When oxygen joins the reaction, energy is released, not as heat, but as pure light. Soft, cool, and perfect. Imagine it like this. A secret conversation inside the body. Luciferin says, I'm ready. Luciferase answers, let's shine. And together, they create a pulse of light that travels outward, gentle and bright, without a sound. This same reaction happens again and again in fireflies, in deep-sea fish, and even in glowing bacteria that cling to drifting pieces of ocean debris. In fact, some of the most hauntingly beautiful sights on Earth come from this process. If you've ever seen waves glowing blue at night, that's bioluminescence too. Tiny plankton called dinoflagellates, lighting up in response to movement. Each crashing wave becomes a rolling line of living light, as if the ocean were dreaming. In those moments, the boundaries between earth and sky seem to blur. The sea glows like liquid stars, and the stars above seem to shimmer in response. It's the same chemistry, luciferin, luciferase, oxygen, energy, just arranged in countless unique ways. What makes the firefly so special is that it brings this deep-sea magic to the land. It carries the same natural brilliance that lights up the ocean depths, but it brings it to our backyards, our gardens, our forests and meadows. In the stillness of summer nights, we get to watch this ancient chemistry in motion, just a few inches from our fingertips. Bioluminescence is more than science. It's a reminder of how creative life can be. Where light seems impossible, nature invents it. In the darkest depths, in the deepest silence, life finds a way to shine. Now let's look closer at why life would evolve to glow. For humans, light is often a tool, something we use to see, to warm, to guide. But for living organisms, light can mean survival. Some creatures use their glow to attract mates, like fireflies gently calling to one another through the night air. Others use it to hunt, like the anglerfish, which dangles a glowing lure in front of its mouth, to tempt unsuspecting prey in the dark ocean. Some use it to hide, yes, to hide, because in the deep sea, where most light comes from above, a soft glow on the belly can make a creature invisible from predators looking upward. It's a trick of nature, a counterglow, a camouflage made from light. And then there are the glowing fungi, like Pinellus stypticus, that illuminate rotting logs on forest floors. Their glow is so faint, you can only see it when your eyes adjust fully to the dark. Scientists believe the fungi glow to attract insects that can help spread their spores, using light to ensure the continuation of life everywhere it appears. Bioluminescence tells a story of adaptation. It's not random beauty. It's evolution refined into light. Each species, each glow, is shaped by millions of years of quiet perfection. When we see fireflies blinking, we're not just watching insects. We're witnessing one of Earth's most ancient technologies, a form of natural chemistry, so efficient that human engineers still can't recreate it perfectly. Think about that for a moment. A firefly's light is nearly 100% efficient. Almost all of its energy becomes light, not heat. No light bulb, no machine, no human invention can match it. Our most advanced LEDs still lose energy to warmth, but the firefly glows coolly, effortlessly, peacefully. It shines without waste. And perhaps that's why we find their glow so soothing. It's not the harsh brilliance of a bulb, nor the flicker of flame. It's soft, alive, and complete. The perfect balance between energy and calm. As you watch a firefly drift through the night, you're seeing the outcome of a million-year conversation between biology and chemistry, a natural masterpiece that continues quietly without needing to be improved. Let's take a gentle step deeper into the invisible heart of this process. Inside a firefly's light organ, the reaction begins when oxygen enters specialized cells. There, luciferin binds to luciferase, and energy from molecules of ADP activates the reaction. The result is a photon, a single particle of light. But what's remarkable is how precisely this reaction is controlled. Fireflies can turn their light on and off almost instantly. They do this by controlling the flow of oxygen to their light-producing cells. When oxygen flows freely, the light shines. When it stops, the glow fades. This means that every pulse, every blink, is a living heartbeat, not mechanical, not random, but responsive to the world around them, to their own inner rhythm. It's as if they are breathing light. Inhaling, the glow brightens. Exhaling, the glow softens. And in that rhythm, you can almost feel the peace of their world. Slow, steady, serene. In the grand design of nature, bioluminescence is more than beauty. It's a form of connection, a way for living things to speak in color, in pulses, in waves of energy. The sea glows because the plankton wish to defend. The mushrooms glow to spread life. The fish glow to find food. And the fireflies glow to find one another, to whisper across the darkness, I am here, and I am alive. When you think of it that way, bioluminescence isn't just a trick of evolution. It's a language of existence. Light, used not to blind or burn, but to communicate, to express, to simply be. So, as the fireflies rise and fall tonight, remember that their glow is part of something far older, far larger, a universal pattern. The same principle that makes stars shine makes them glow too. Both are expressions of energy. Both are messengers of life. From the farthest galaxy to the quiet meadow at your doorstep, light travels through all things, a gentle reminder that even the smallest spark is still a part of the universe's endless glow. Imagine, for a moment, that you could shrink down smaller and smaller until you were small enough to wander inside the body of a firefly. You'd find yourself in a tiny, glowing world, a landscape made of cells and light, humming quietly with life. Inside its slender abdomen, a soft miracle is unfolding, one that turns ordinary energy into shimmering light. Deep within the lower part of the firefly's body lies a special organ known as the lantern. It isn't made of glass or metal, but of living cells, carefully arranged in layers. These layers act like nature's own light bulb, except far more efficient and infinitely more beautiful. When you look at a firefly glowing in the night, that light you see isn't random. It begins when a firefly's brain sends a signal, a quiet chemical message, down to the cells inside its lantern. And in that instant, the magic begins. Inside each tiny cell, special chemicals begin to move. One of them is called luciferin, a small organic molecule that holds the potential to shine. Another is luciferase, an enzyme, a little biological machine that helps luciferin do its work. Along with these two, a third ingredient arrives, oxygen. And finally, there's ADP, short for adenosine triphosphate, the molecule of energy that every living cell depends on. When these four meet, luciferin, luciferase, oxygen, and ADP, something extraordinary happens. A soft spark begins to form, invisible at first, then bursting into visible light. Pure, cool light. Light without flame, without smoke, without heat. If you could slow time down, you would see each step. ADP gives luciferin a little boost of energy, changing its shape. Luciferase gently holds it in place, positioning it perfectly. Then oxygen slips in, and with a delicate twist of chemistry, energy is released, not as fire, not as warmth, but as light. It's as if nature found a way to turn breath and energy into stars. Scientists have spent decades studying this process, try to understand every molecule, every flicker. They've measured how long each reaction takes, often less than 1,000th of a second, and how the firefly controls it so precisely, flashing on and off as if it were flicking a natural switch. That switch, it turns out, lies in the firefly's control of oxygen. When oxygen flows into the lantern cells, light bursts forth. When it stops, darkness returns. This means that the glow of a firefly is not constant. It's controlled, rhythmic, almost musical. You can imagine like breathing. Inhale and the light appears, exhale and it fades. But there's more. The firefly's body is designed to make this reaction incredibly efficient. Nearly all the energy used in the reaction becomes light. Less than 1% is wasted as heat. For comparison, an old-fashioned light bulb wastes about 90% of its energy as heat. So in a way, every firefly carries within it a perfect light source, one that scientists still dream of replicating. The next time you see one glowing above a summer field, remember that you're looking at chemistry working in harmony with life itself. Each flash is a molecular dance. Luciferin meeting luciferase, oxygen whispering through tiny tubes, ADP lending its strength and light being born gently, silently, beautifully. Let's drift a bit deeper into this world, into the very cells where this transformation begins. Inside the lantern, there are tiny structures known as peroxisomes. These act as little chemical workshops. They hold luciferase and luciferin close together, ensuring the reaction happens smoothly. Around them are tracheoles, microscopic airways that bring oxygen right where it's needed. Everything inside the firefly's body works in quiet coordination. A signal from the brain, a pulse of oxygen, a rush of molecules, and then light. The firefly doesn't burn. It doesn't heat up. It simply glows, perfectly balanced, perfectly calm. It's a reminder that not all brightness comes from fire or explosion. Some comes from stillness, from the quiet chemistry of life. And that's what makes the firefly's light so mesmerizing. It's not destruction. It's creation, tiny, living creation. To truly understand how magical this process is, let's imagine conversation happening inside those lantern cells. Luciferin, the molecule of potential, rests quietly until called. Luciferase waits beside it, patient, precise, ready to help. Then ADP arrives, offering its stored energy like a spark handed from one friend to another. And oxygen, the breath of life, completes the circle. Shall we begin? And suddenly, the room fills with light. That's the language of the Fireflies' chemistry. Cooperation, timing, and balance. The Firefly doesn't need electricity or wires. It doesn't need batteries or solar panels. All it needs is this delicate meeting of molecules, the result of millions of years of evolution, refined until perfection. But how did evolution shape such a perfect reaction? Scientists believe it began long ago, when ancient beetles developed enzymes to handle oxygen safely inside their bodies. Over time, these enzymes changed shape, taking on new functions, one of which was the ability to make light. At first, perhaps the glow was faint, a byproduct, a gentle flicker that offered no real purpose. But soon, that light became useful. Maybe it scared away predators or helped attract mates. And over countless generations, the chemical reaction became more refined, more beautiful, more controlled. Today, fireflies are masters of it. Some can flash in perfect synchrony, hundreds or thousands of individuals lighting up at the same moment, their signals echoing through the trees like living Morse code. Others use complex patterns to tell one another who they are, a series of long and short blinks that identify each species uniquely. And beneath it all, every glow begins with the same ancient chemistry, the quiet power of luciferin and luciferase. It's almost poetic that the name luciferin comes from the Latin Lucifer, meaning light bringer. It's not connected to any darker meaning. It simply describes what it does. It brings light into being. Every firefly is a light bringer, carrying a microscopic lantern filled with nature's most elegant reaction. If you think about it, this reaction is nature's perfect technology. It creates light without waste, without pollution, without harm. And it's renewable. Every glow is powered by the same gentle forces that sustain life itself. No wonder scientists study it so deeply. Today, luciferase and luciferin are used in laboratories around the world, helping researchers visualize biological processes, detect diseases, and even test medicines. Every time a researcher watches a tiny glow under a microscope, they're seeing the same chemistry that lights up the summer night. It's humbling, really, how something so small, so ancient, so peaceful could hold such incredible scientific power. And yet for the firefly, it's simply life. It doesn't know it's performing one of nature's greatest chemical miracles. It just glows, because that's what it was made to do. Now that we know how the chemistry works, let's pause and feel what it means. The firefly's glow is not loud, not violent, it's gentle. But within that gentleness lies precision beyond measure. Every molecule moves in harmony, every flash perfectly timed. It's as if the firefly's body were a tiny orchestra. Luciferin plays a melody. Luciferase keeps the rhythm. Oxygen hums in the background, and ADP provides a steady beat. Together, they perform a song that we can't hear but can see, a lullaby written in light. If you sit quietly in a field where fireflies gather, you can almost feel that symphony. Each flash is a note, each pause a breath. The entire night becomes music made visible. And yet, this concert happens silently, effortlessly, repeated again and again through countless summer nights. It's amazing, isn't it, how something so fleeting can feel eternal. The firefly's glow lasts only moments, but its wonder lingers in the mind long after the light fades. Perhaps that's what draws us to them, not just their beauty, but their message, that within every small life, there's a quiet miracle unfolding, a miracle that doesn't need to shout or spark, only to shimmer softly in the dark. And that's the true gift of the firefly's chemical reaction. It turns life itself into light. In the next keynote, we'll explore why this glow produces no heat, how nature designed it to shine so perfectly, with such cool efficiency, that even our most advanced technology still struggles to match it. Until then, breathe softly and let the quiet chemistry of the firefly remind you that even the smallest spark, born in silence, can light the dark. If you were to ask nature, what makes a firefly shine? The answer would come softly in 4 simple names: luciferin, luciferase, oxygen, ADP, just 4 ingredients. Yet together, they weave one of the most perfect chemical miracles known to life. Let's start at the very beginning. Inside the firefly's tiny lantern, that glowing chamber near the tip of its abdomen, millions of microscopic reactions take place every second. Each reaction is delicate, precise, and fleeting, but when they happen together, their combined effect becomes visible as that familiar pulse of golden light. It begins with luciferin, the molecule of possibility. Luciferin is the light bringer, a small, organic compound that holds the potential to shine, much like a match waiting to be struck. On its own, luciferin is silent, stable, calm, and resting quietly inside the firefly cells. But when it meets the right partners, that calm transforms into radiance. Next comes luciferase, the helper, an enzyme, a biological guide. Luciferase doesn't glow itself, but it knows how to make luciferin glow. Think of it like a conductor leading an orchestra. It brings the right molecules together, ensures they align perfectly, and times their interaction down to the smallest fraction of a second. Then enters oxygen, the breath of life. It flows through tiny air tubes called tracheoles, reaching every glowing cell. When oxygen arrives, it unlocks luciferin's hidden power. It allows the chemical bond to shift, releasing energy in the purest form, light. And finally, there's ADP, adenosine triphosphate, the universal energy currency of life. Every heartbeat, every thought, every breath in your body depends on ADP. In the firefly, it fuels a reaction, giving luciferin the spark it needs to begin its transformation. So when these 4 meet, luciferin, luciferase, oxygen, and ADP, the reaction ignites and light is born. The process is called bioluminescence, meaning living light. And what's most fascinating is that this reaction happens without heat. Almost all the energy becomes visible light. No burning, no waste, no damage to the firefly's body. It's the most efficient light in nature, a perfect inversion, where every molecule plays its role with quiet harmony. Scientists have studied this in laboratories for decades, replicating it inside test tubes and petri dishes. When they add luciferin and luciferase together with oxygen and ADP, a soft green glow appears, even outside the firefly's body. It's mesmerizing to watch, a small, shimmering light born purely from chemistry. But within the firefly, the process isn't random. It's beautifully controlled. The insect can choose when to glow, how bright to shine, and for how long the light will last. It's like having a built-in dimmer switch, one that responds not to electricity, but to life itself. To imagine it, picture the firefly's body as a miniature stage. Luciferin waits behind the curtain. Luciferase stands ready. Oxygen flows in softly like a breeze, and ADP whispers, "It's time." Then, in perfect unison, the stage lights up. The glow spreads to the lantern organ, escaping through thin, transparent walls until it reaches your eyes, a golden pulse drifting through the dark night air. It's astonishing, really, how for simple ingredients can create something so beautiful. Something that has inspired poetry, music, art, and now science. But there's more to this story, because each of these four ingredients plays a precise role, each one critical. If even one is missing, the light cannot exist. Let's drift closer to understand how they work together, molecule by molecule, in nature's quiet chemistry of light. If you could travel inside the firefly's glowing cell, you would enter a microscopic dance floor, a place where luciferin and luciferase swirl gracefully together, guided by invisible rhythms. The reaction begins when ADP arrives. This molecule, found in every living cell, carries packets of energy stored in its chemical bonds. When it meets luciferin, it transfers some of that energy, activating it, turning luciferin into what scientists call luciferoadenylate. This new, energized molecule is unstable, ready to release that energy at any moment, but it can't do it alone. That's where luciferase steps in. Luciferase holds luciferin gently, positioning it perfectly for the next step, the introduction of oxygen. When oxygen enters a reaction, it binds to luciferin structure, forming a high-energy intermediate. In this brief, fleeting instant, the molecule is almost trembling with potential. It's holding more energy than it can safely contain. Then, in a single elegant motion, the molecule releases that extra energy, and that release becomes light. The glow you see outside the firefly is the visible echo of this molecular transformation. The energy once stored in chemical bonds has now become photons, tiny packets of pure light energy that travel outward, illuminating the night. Each flash is incredibly fast. From start to finish, the entire reaction takes less than a millisecond, but the firefly repeats it again and again, hundreds, sometimes thousands of times in a single minute, creating the rhythmic pattern of blinks that we recognize as its signal. It's breathtaking to think how perfectly evolved this mechanism is. Every molecule knows its place, every movement happens in harmony, and every reaction ends in light, cool, efficient, and beautiful. Even more astonishing is the control the firefly has over it. By adjusting how much oxygen enters the lantern cells, it can turn its glow on or off almost instantly. This ability allows it to communicate, to send coded messages to potential mates or warnings to predators. So when you see a firefly blink once, twice, then pause, remember that rhythm isn't random. It's a carefully timed sequence, guided by chemical precision. Luciferin and luciferase are the musicians. Oxygen is the breath. ADP is the heartbeat. Together, they perform one of the most exquisite light symphonies in all of biology. Now that we understand how the glow forms, let's rest in the wonder of why it's so perfect. You see, most forms of light in our world come with waste. A candle gives warmth, but most of its energy becomes heat, not brightness. A light bulb glows brilliantly, but almost 90% of its energy escapes as heat. But the firefly, it wastes almost nothing. Its bioluminescent reaction is nearly 100% efficient. This means that almost every bit of energy from ADP transforms directly into visible light. It's nature's version of a perfect lamp. Cool, sustainable, and endlessly renewable. Scientists have tried to copy it for years. They've built synthetic systems that mimic luciferase and luciferin, and use them to power glowing plants, medical sensors, and even soft nighttime lighting. But none yet match the firefly's quiet perfection. Inside that tiny body lies an engineering masterpiece, a blend of biology and chemistry that no machine has ever truly equaled. And what's most beautiful is that it happens not for power, not for profit, but simply for life. For the firefly, this glow isn't decoration. It's communication, protection, and identity. But for us, watching from the outside, it becomes something more, a symbol of calm, of wonder, of light born from stillness. Next time you see a firefly, pause for a moment, watch the rhythm of its glow. Think of the luciferin resting in its lantern, the luciferase guiding it, the oxygen feeding it, and the ADP igniting it. Each blink is a masterpiece of nature's chemistry, a moment where invisible molecules come together to make something visible, beautiful, and alive. The firefly doesn't know it's performing a miracle, but maybe deep inside, it feels the quiet joy of being part of something luminous. In our next keynote, we'll gently explore how this light, so pure and bright, manages to produce no heat at all. We'll discover why the firefly's glow is cool to the touch, and how nature designed it to be one of the most efficient forms of light in existence. For now, close your eyes and imagine that soft green pulse in the summer night, fading slowly in and out as the quiet chemistry of luciferin and luciferase paints the darkness with living light. If you've ever cupped your hands around a glowing firefly, you might have noticed something almost unbelievable. The little light inside doesn't feel warm at all. It shines, but without heat. The glow seems to flow in the air, calm and cool, like a whisper of light that never burns. This is one of the most beautiful mysteries of firefly science, and one that sets their light apart from almost every kind of light we humans have ever made. You see, most light we create, whether it's from a candle, a bulb, or even the screen you're watching this on, always comes with heat. Fire burns to make light. Filaments glow red hot to shine. Even LEDs, the most efficient lights we've invented, still release a little warmth. But fireflies, they glow without warmth, without flame, without any waste of energy. Their light is called a cold light. And the secret behind this cool, perfect glow lies deep in the chemistry of bioluminescence. When luciferin, luciferase, oxygen, and ADP come together inside the firefly's abdomen, they create a chemical reaction so efficient that nearly 100% of the energy is converted directly into light. There's no extra energy left to spill into heat. Every spark is controlled, balanced, and pure. To understand why this happens, we need to think about what light really is. Light is energy released by excited atoms or molecules, little bursts of energy traveling as photons. Usually, when energy is released in chemical or physical reactions, some of it becomes random motion. What we feel is heat. But in the firefly's bioluminescence system, the reaction is tuned so perfectly that nearly all of that energy is released as photons, not as heat. It's like nature found a way to write the perfect equation. One that glows beautifully, but stays cool to the touch. Inside the lantern of a firefly, the molecules don't burn, they don't explode. They just pass energy softly from one to another until it becomes light. It's an elegant exchange, a slow breath of energy transforming into visible brilliance. That's why the firefly's glow never scorches its fragile wings, never overheats its tiny body, never harms the living tissues around it. It's light made for life, gentle, calm, and efficient. You could think of it as a biological lantern powered by peace itself. To see just how special this is, Let's compare it to our own human ways of creating light. When you light a candle, what you're seeing is a burning of wax. Chemical bonds are breaking, releasing large amounts of energy as both light and heat. Only a tiny fraction of that energy, maybe about 10%, becomes visible light. The rest escapes as warmth. Even the traditional electric bulb, with its glowing filament, works by heating metal until it shines. Around 90% of the energy is lost as heat. That's why old bulbs feel hot when you touch them. And yet, the firefly does the same thing, produces visible light, but in complete silence with no warmth at all. Its energy pathway skips the chaotic stage of heat production and channels everything directly into photon emission. How? The secret lies in how luciferin and luciferase interact. When luciferin is oxidized, meaning it reacts with oxygen, it forms a high-energy intermediate compound. This molecule then relaxes to a lower energy state by releasing a photon of light. Instead of vibrating or colliding with nearby molecules, which would produce heat. The enzyme luciferase ensures that this process happens in a calm, controlled environment, like a guide showing energy the smoothest way out. It's a path that avoids chaos, avoids friction, avoids warmth. In a way, the firefly's light is almost like meditation at the molecular level. Every atom knows exactly where to go, every reaction is balanced, and nothing is wasted. This cool, flawless process is one reason scientists often call firefly bioluminescence the most efficient light source known to nature. It's also why fireflies can flash thousands of times in a single night without harm. Imagine if our lamps could do that. Glow for hours with zero heat, zero waste, just calm light floating in the air. When researchers study firefly lanterns under microscopes, they find special structures that help manage this process. Layers of reflective tissues that direct the light outward, and tiny oxygen pathways that regulate the glow precisely. Every part of the lantern is designed for balance, for cool, efficient beauty. And perhaps that's part of the magic we feel when we see them. Somewhere inside us, we recognize that what we're seeing isn't just light. It's perfect energy, release in harmony, without struggle, without loss. The more we learn about the firefly's cool light, the more we realize how rare it truly is. There are other creatures in the world that glow: deep-sea jellyfish, glowing mushrooms, certain plankton in tropical waters. But all of them share the same remarkable efficiency. Nature seems to favor light without heat. It's almost as if living organisms know that warmth would be wasteful, even dangerous. So evolution found a better way, one where chemistry can shine without burning. In the firefly, this ability allows life and light to coexist peacefully. The insect can carry its lantern wherever it goes, without fear of overheating. Its body illuminated from within, like a small star that never scorches its sky. Scientists sometimes refer to this as cold fire chemistry. The phrase itself sounds poetic and fitting, because what fireflies do is nothing short of poetry in motion. They've mastered a kind of gentle illumination that we, even with all our technology, still struggle to match. And maybe that's why, when we watch them drift through the night, we feel such deep calm. Their light isn't harsh or sharp or mechanical. It's soft, almost sleepy, the kind of glow that invites the mind to rest. Imagine lying on a warm summer field, the air still, and around you, countless fireflies blinking in silence. Their lights appear and fade again, like nature's slow heartbeat. Each tiny pulse of light travels from molecule to molecule, skipping heat, skipping waste, just radiating quiet wonder. In that moment, you realize this is not just a chemical reaction. It's a lesson in balance and efficiency in peace. The firefly teaches us that even in darkness, you can shine softly without burning out. And as their glow fades into the quiet night, you can almost hear the whisper of their message, that true brilliance, the kind that lasts, doesn't need to burn. If you've ever watched fireflies in different parts of the world, you may have noticed something quietly enchanting. Not all of them glow the same way. Some shimmer in a soft green light, others flicker a warm yellow, and a few seem to pulse with a faint orange or even pale blue hue. It's as though the night sky has lent each firefly species its own unique brushstroke of color, painting the darkness with shades of living light. This variety is not just beautiful, it's deeply meaningful. Each color, each tone, tells a quiet story of biology, chemistry, and adaptation. It's nature's way of fine-tuning the glow for each environment, each purpose, and each species' own secret code. Let's start by looking closely at what really determines the color of firefly's light. The key lies once again in the delicate reaction between luciferin, luciferase, oxygen, and ADP. But this time, the subtle difference comes from how luciferase interacts with luciferin, how the molecules bind, how electrons shift, and how energy is released. In some fireflies, the luciferase enzyme changes the structure of luciferin ever so slightly, altering the wavelength of the light that emitted. The result is a shift in color, from green to yellow to orange, or rarely, even into the pale red spectrum. It's fascinating how such tiny chemical differences can change what our eyes see. A small twist in the enzyme shape, a different pH level, a variation in temperature, and suddenly the night glows in a whole new tone. For most common fireflies, especially those in North America and Asia, the light tend to be yellow-green, the wavelength that travels farthest through humid night air. This makes it perfect for long-distance communication and for standing out against the deep greens and blues of evening forests. But in other regions, particularly tropical ones, some fireflies have evolved to glow with a warmer, golden yellow hue, blending beautifully with the dense, honey-colored air of warmer nights. Each color feels like a whisper, tuned to the environment, tuned to the rhythm of life. Now, imagine for a moment a quiet forest in Japan. The air is cool, the trees are still, and the grass sparkles softly with the emerald lights of Luciola cruciata, the Japanese firefly. Their glow is a deep green, almost mystical, a color that seems made for meditation. Thousands of miles away, in the wetlands of Florida or Tennessee, another species, Photinus pyralis, flickers in a brighter lemon-yellow light, quick, joyful, like the rhythm of laughter. Each one has its own song, its own light language, its own identity. Scientists studying these lights have discovered that color can be influenced not just by luciferase, but by the internal chemistry of the firefly's lantern, the amount of oxygen, the presence of certain metals, or even the thickness of the lantern walls. In some rare species, researchers have found hints of orange-red glows, produced when luciferase allows slightly lower energy photons to escape. These are dimmer to the human eye, but in the dense tropical air, they stand out perfectly to other fireflies. There's even a few aquatic fireflies, small, shy beetles, that emit a blue-green light, more suited for underwater vision. Their world is a quiet ocean of shimmer, small dots of light moving like stars beneath the surface. Color, then, is not just decoration, it's communication. Different hues may help fireflies identify their own species, choose the right mates, or avoid predators who can't see certain wavelengths well. Imagine being in a forest filled with many kinds of fireflies, each flashing in its own color and rhythm. The green ones might be courting on one side of clearing, the yellow ones sending signals in another, all sharing the night sky without confusion. Their unique lights keeping their messages clear. It's a living symphony of wavelengths, organized, peaceful, and mesmerizing. And yet, despite all this complexity, the firefly never needs to think about it. The colors flow naturally, effortlessly, just as the stars never struggle to shine. Color in nature often serves a deeper story, one that connects physics, perception, and evolution. The firefly's light color tells us how evolution has quietly adjusted chemistry to fit the landscape, like a painter mixing new shades for each season. In cool, damp climates where green light travels farthest, fireflies glow emerald, ensuring their light pierces a mist. In warmer or drier regions, where air density changes how light scatters, yellow becomes more efficient. In deep tropical jungles, orange hues may cut better through the dense, golden atmosphere. Even the eyes of the fireflies themselves play a role. Their vision is tuned specifically to the wavelength of their own glow, a delicate coevolution that ensures their messages are never lost in the dark. To them, the world glows differently than it does to us, more vivid, more alive. When scientists measured the wavelengths, they found that most fireflies emit light between 510 and 670 nanometers, the range spanning green through yellow to red. And yet, to the human heart, all of them feel the same, gentle, calming, and filled with wonder. In some regions of the world, entire hillsides come alive at once, glowing in synchronized waves of different hues. Thailand, Malaysia, and parts of Japan are famous for this. Thousands of fireflies blinking in unison, their colors merging like slow-moving auroras on Earth. It's almost impossible not to feel awe when watching it. The science behind it is clear, but the emotion it evokes is something deeper. Because color in the fireflies' world isn't just light, it's language. It's how they speak without sound, how they find one another in the dark, how they remind us that even the smallest beings can hold the universe's colors inside them. So, when you next see a firefly glowing softly nearby, look closer. Notice its color. Is it green like a hidden emerald? Golden like the last light of sunset? Or a soft orange that fades like a dream? Each hue carries the same message, a quiet hello from nature, a promise that even in the stillness of night, there is color, life, and connection. And as the lights rise and fade into the night, you can almost imagine the earth itself breathing, one glowing color at a time. When we watch fireflies twinkling across a quiet summer night, it feels like they're simply performing for beauty's sake, a kind of living starlight scattered close to the ground. But behind that soft, mesmerizing glow, there's a language, ancient, silent, and full of purpose. Fireflies don't glow just to decorate the night. Their light has meaning. It's their way of talking to one another, finding love, and even protecting themselves. Every flash, every gentle blink carries a message. And once you learn to see the pattern, the dark suddenly becomes full of conversations. Let's begin with perhaps the most magical reason of all, communication. You see, in the world of fireflies, light is the voice of the heart. Since they live in places where sound doesn't travel far, humid forests, grassy wetlands, and quiet fields, they rely on light to speak instead of song. Each firefly species has its own rhythm, a unique pulse or sequence of flashes that acts like a signature. Some blink in short bursts, others in long, lazy glows. Some flash once every few seconds, while others create small dances of 3 or 4 quick lights in a row. These rhythms are precise. A single misplaced blink could be misunderstood. So when fireflies communicate, it's almost like Morse code, patterns of light written in the language of instinct. Males usually take to the air first, flying low over the grass or weaving between the trees. As they drift, they send out their rhythmic flashes. I'm here, they're saying. Is anyone watching? Down below, hidden among the leaves, the females wait quietly. They watch, and when they see a pattern they recognize, the right rhythm for their species, they reply with a small, soft glow of their own. It's a dialogue written in light. The male sees a response, adjusts his flight, and moves closer, continuing his signal. The female glows again, answering back. Slowly, step by step, flash by flash, they find one another in the darkness. It's communication made of patience and precision, yet it feels so peaceful, so effortless. The whole forest, if you could listen to it, will be humming silently with these wordless exchanges. Countless lights whispering, I see you, and I'm here. And in that quiet language of light, love begins. Now that we've seen how communication brings fireflies together, let's look at their most famous reason for glowing, mating. For fireflies, light is not just a message. It's a love song. Each flash pattern is like a melody, carefully evolved over millions of years to attract the perfect partner. Imagine a meadow at dusk, the air heavy with warmth. Dozens of tiny lights begin to rise from the grass, each male sending out his own rhythm, each glow a tiny heartbeat pulsing through the air. The females, perched quietly on leaves, watch closely. They wait for the right frequency, the rhythm that matches their kind. When they see it, they flash back, a tiny reply that says, I hear your song. From there begins a glowing dance, a back-and-forth exchange that grows slower, closer, more synchronized. The male adjusts his light to match hers. The female brightens her glow, leading him in. It's a courtship written entirely in light. Different species have their own dances. Some species in Southeast Asia perform synchronized displays, entire trees lighting up in perfect unison, thousands of fireflies blinking together like a breathing constellation. It's one of the most breathtaking spectacles in nature, a forest that shines from within. But why synchronization? Scientists believe that when many males flash together, the females can find them more easily and predators become confused. It's a blend of romance and protection, efficiency and beauty all at once. The timing of flashes, the brightness, even the direction of the light, all play a role in this delicate ritual. It's a kind of coded poetry that humans can only admire, because even though we can see the light, we can never truly speak it. And yet, the beauty of it reaches us all the same. Watching fireflies court under a warm sky is like witnessing the earth itself breathing in patterns of light. But mating and communication are not the only reasons for their glow. There's one more, perhaps less romantic, but just as important: defense. In the wild, light can also be a warning, and for fireflies it often is. You see, many animals that glow in nature use their light to say one simple thing: don't eat me. Fireflies, though beautiful and gentle, carry chemicals in their bodies that taste bitter, even toxic, to many predators. These chemicals are called lucibuphagins, and they're nature's way of giving fireflies protection without needing to fight or flee. So when a frog or a bird or even a curious spider sees a familiar glow, it learns to associate with bad experience, an unpleasant taste, or a mild sickness. Over time, predators remember, glowing insects are not worth the risk. This form of signaling is called aposematism, using color or light to warn others of danger. And for fireflies, their glow becomes both beauty and shield, a soft, shining armor in the darkness. It's a remarkable duality. The same light that attracts mates also deters predators. The same chemistry that sings love songs at dusk also whispers warnings in the night. Scientists have even discovered that some firefly species mimic the flash patterns of others, but not for romance. These are known as femme fatale fireflies. They imitate the mating signals of other species, luring unsuspecting males closer, only to capture and eat them. Even in nature's gentlest lights, there are layers of cunning, survival woven into beauty. But for most fireflies, their glow remains peaceful, a delicate balance between attraction and defense. It's how they live, love, and protect themselves, all through the power of a single silent shimmer. When we see them flicker across the dark, we're watching more than light. We're watching language, instinct, and history glowing together. Their flashes tell stories older than words. Tales of communication, courtship, and caution, all playing out quietly in the warm night air. So, the next time you find yourself surrounded by their light, pause for a moment. Feel the rhythm. Each tiny glow might be a message, a conversation, a warning, or a love song floating through the dark. And maybe, just maybe, in that peaceful flickering, you'll feel the world itself speaking softly back to you. Every firefly you see glowing in the night sky belongs to a world of quiet diversity, a hidden spectrum of rhythms, patterns, and subtle signals that make each species beautifully distinct. To our eyes, their flashes might seem the same, just tiny sparks in the dark. But to the fireflies themselves, every blink tells a story of identity. Each species speaks its own dialect of light, a particular rhythm, a precise duration, a sequence of pauses and flickers, all of it perfectly evolved to be recognized by others of its kind. This isn't random. It's a kind of biological choreography written in the genes, refined through countless generations of courtship and survival. Some fireflies pulse in quick bursts, like heartbeat rhythms that shimmer across the grass. Others glow in long, slow arcs, holding the light until it fades gently into the warm night air. There are species whose flashes spiral upward as they fly, creating faint trails of light like the strokes of invisible paintbrushes, and others that flicker only once, disappearing before the mind can even register their shape. Each pattern has meaning, and that meaning is recognized instantly by other fireflies of the same kind. Scientists have cataloged over 2,000 species of fireflies around the world. And while all of them use the same basic chemical, luciferin, to create their glow, the way they use that glow differs like accents in a language. In the American South, for instance, one of the most studied species is Photinus pyralis, often called the Big Dipper firefly. It gets this name from its characteristic flight. The male swoops downward in a smooth arc while flashing once, just like the shape of the Big Dipper constellation in the sky. Nearby, other species, such as Photinus marginalis, use entirely different rhythms. Their flashes are shorter, quicker, and closer together, sometimes forming double pulses that repeat in careful cycles. And the females of each species know exactly which pattern to answer. A single misplaced flash or a mistimed pause could mean the difference between finding a mate or being ignored entirely. So the rhythm of their light is more than beauty. It's a signal of belonging, a signature that says, I am one of you. If you travel across the world, you'll find that these patterns shift and shimmer with the environment. In the dense rainforests of Malaysia and Thailand live the Pteroptyx fireflies, known for their astonishing synchronized displays. At first, a few males begin to flash among the mangrove trees. Then others join in. Within moments, entire branches begin to pulse in perfect unison. Hundreds of lights, blinking together in rhythm so exact it feels almost musical. This harmony isn't random. It's an evolved behavior, a way to make the signal stronger and easier for females to detect. When all the males flash together, the forest becomes a single glowing beacon, an orchestra of light calling to the night. In Japan, there's another kind of beauty, the Genjibo Taru and Haikubo Taru fireflies. Their glow is slower, more deliberate, like breathing in and out. The Genjibo Taru gives a long, steady glow that can last for several seconds, drifting gracefully over rivers and fields. Meanwhile, the Haikubo Taru, smaller and gentler, flashes in shorter bursts, creating a rhythmic counterpoint in the dark. In some places, entire villages hold festivals to celebrate these species, evenings where people gather by riversides, waiting silently for the moment the first lights appear. It's not just science. It's poetry written in motion. But these differences aren't only about location. They're also shaped by evolutionary necessity. When species live close together, their signals must remain distinct. If two firefly species use similar flash patterns, their mating calls could become confused, leading to mistakes that nature quickly corrects. So over time, their rhythms diverged, one species flashing faster, another slower, until each found its own unique frequency. It's as if every kind of firefly has tuned itself to a different note on nature's scale of light. Together, they form a symphony that plays across the world, invisible to our ears, but dazzling to our eyes. Some scientists have devoted their entire careers to decoding this luminous language. They go out into meadows and forests at night, carrying small lights to mimic firefly flashes, testing which rhythms draw responses and which do not. By studying these reactions, researchers can map out the grammar of each species' glow, the timing, spacing, and intensity that make up their visual vocabulary. They've even built tiny electronic fireflies, small LEDs that can imitate the flash pattern of real insects. When placed in the field, these fake fireflies can attract or confuse the real ones, helping scientists understand how communication evolved. One remarkable discovery is that some fireflies can adjust their flashes based on competition. If several males are nearby, each may try to flash slightly earlier or brighter, hoping to catch the female's attention first. It's like a glowing contest, yet even in competition, the display feels peaceful, a quiet shimmer across the night. And here's something even more fascinating. Not all fireflies use light at all. Some species have lost their glow entirely over time. Instead, they rely on pheromones, chemical scents, to find mates. These dark fireflies remind us that evolution is never static. Light may be their signature, but it isn't their only way to connect. Each species, glowing or not, has adapted to its surroundings in the most efficient way possible. When you step back and think about it, this vast diversity of signals, all these rhythms, patterns, and glowing dialects, paint a picture of nature that's endlessly creative. It shows us that beauty in nature is never uniform. Even in creatures as small and silent as fireflies, there's individuality, thousands of tiny variations that make the night come alive. So, the next time you see fireflies blinking in the dark, know that you're witnessing a conversation older than language, older than humanity itself. Each tiny light is a message, a declaration of identity, a song of belonging, a rhythm unique to that little spark of life. They don't just light up the night. They fill it with meaning. When we think of fireflies, we imagine the gentle sparkles drifting through summer air, adult insects lighting up the night like floating stars. But the story of their glow begins long before they ever take flight. Even before they have wings, before they rise into the open sky, tiny firefly larvae glow quietly beneath the surface of the world. Hidden among the damp earth, under layers of leaves, moss, and twigs, these glowing youngsters live their early lives in the darkness. If you were to walk through a quiet forest at night and kneel close to the ground, you might see faint points of light scattered between blades of grass, tiny greenish dots glowing steadily like resting embers. These are baby fireflies, the larvae, living in secret worlds we rarely notice. To them, light is not decoration. It's a tool, a message, and sometimes a shield. While adult fireflies use their glow for romance, the larvae have a different reason for shining. Their glow is a signal that says, "Don't touch me." It's nature's quiet warning, a luminous way of saying, "I'm not a safe meal." Scientists call this kind of glowing message aposematic light, a defensive signal that warns predators to stay away. Just as bright colors in frogs or caterpillars warn of toxins, the firefly's gentle glow warns of unpleasant taste or potential harm. And predators, like frogs, spiders, or birds, learn quickly to respect that light. After one unpleasant experience, they remember the glow as something to avoid. So, even in its earliest stage, the firefly is already communicating with the world, already mastering the silent language of light. If you could watch a firefly larva up close, you'd see a small, soft-bodied creature, often dark brown or black, segmented like a tiny armored train. Along the sides or the tip of its abdomen lie specialized cells, miniature versions of the light organs found in adults. Inside these cells, the same magical reaction occurs. Luciferin, luciferase, oxygen, and ADP working together to produce cold, greenish light. The reaction is perfectly controlled, turning on and off as needed, glowing brighter when disturbed, dimming when the larva rests. Some larvae glow continuously through the night, tiny lanterns in the soil, their soft light blending with the hush of the earth. Others pulse gently, as if breathing with the rhythm of the world around them. Though they never fly, these glowing creatures are explorers of the ground. They hunt small prey, earthworms, snails, and other soft-bodied animals that share their damp habitat. Using their strong jaws, they inject enzymes that begin digesting the prey from the inside, then slowly absorb the nutrients. It's a quiet, unseen life, lived entirely beneath our feet. And yet, it's as intricate and vital to nature's balance as any other form of life. In the soft soil, their faint glow also serves another purpose. It connects them to one another. Some scientists believe the light helps the larvae recognize members of their own species, or coordinate hatching and movement, though still being studied. These ideas suggest that even in darkness, firefly larvae live within a community of light. And if you've ever stood in a forest at night and seen the earth itself seem to sparkle faintly, that's what you're witnessing. The quiet childhood of light itself. There are places on Earth where these glowing larvae are not hidden secrets, but grand spectacles of nature. In New Zealand, the caves of Waitomo are home to creatures called glowworms, actually the larvae of fungus gnats, not true fireflies, but their glowing principle is almost the same. They hang from the cave ceiling, releasing sticky silk threads that dangle like chandeliers. The larvae glow to attract insects toward their sticky traps, using light as a lure rather than a warning. When hundreds or thousands glow together, the cave transforms into an underground galaxy, a mirrored sky below the Earth. In North America, real firefly larvae can sometimes be seen glowing faintly after rain. Children who play near streams and meadows may occasionally spot them, though few realize what they're looking at. Those tiny, glowing specks are the beginnings of next summer's light show, the quiet generation that will someday rise into the sky to sparkle and dance. And there's something profoundly comforting about that. The idea that even before the beauty we can see, Life is preparing its brilliance deep below. In the life of a firefly, glowing is not a stage. It's a constant companion. From egg to larva, to pupa, to adult, the firefly carries its light within, like a small eternal flame. It glows through the hidden, hungry months of childhood, rests quietly in the cocoon of transformation, and then bursts forth into flight, lighting the world with patterns of love and wonder. Even before their wings unfold, they already carry the knowledge of light, a reminder that beauty begins in silence, long before the scene. So the next time you watch a firefly drift through the summer night, think of the countless tiny lights that once glowed beneath the soil, preparing for this moment. They were there all along, whispering softly to the earth, waiting patiently to rise and shine. Because for fireflies, the glow isn't something they learn. It's something they're born with, a quiet promise, carried from the dark ground to the glowing sky. When we think of a firefly's light, we often see it as a symbol of beauty, a fleeting shimmer in the quiet of the night. But beyond its wonder, the glow of the firefly plays a far deeper role in nature's story. That small, greenish light, so delicate, so silent, is a part of the Earth's ecological language. It connects living things, shapes behaviors, and influences the balance of entire habitats. In nature, nothing is wasted. Every flash, every rhythm of light, serves a purpose in the grand design of life. For the firefly, light is a signal, a defense, a lure, and sometimes a quiet warning. But for the environment around it, that light becomes something more, a part of the living rhythm of night. When fireflies gather in great numbers, over fields, by rivers, or through thick forests, they become a moving pulse within an ecosystem. Each glow is a whisper in the dark, a cue that other creatures respond to, whether they realize it or not. Some insects are drawn to the faint shimmer, curious about the moving spark. Others avoid it instinctively, remembering through evolution that glowing things often taste unpleasant. And so, even without words, the light becomes a subtle force of organization, guiding behavior, shaping patterns of feeding and movement. In this way, the glow doesn't just belong to the firefly. It belongs to the night itself. Imagine a warm summer night in the countryside, when the air hums softly with crickets and frogs. Among the tall grasses, fireflies rise in waves, dozens and hundreds, flickering in patterns that seem almost synchronized. While we see beauty, nature sees energy moving through its web. The firefly's light attracts mates, yes, but it also invites other interactions. Predators that learn to avoid glowing insects are guided towards safer prey, keeping populations balanced. Meanwhile, the larvae, glowing in the soil, feed on snails and worms, controlling their numbers and enriching the soil through natural recycling. Every stage of a firefly's glowing life, from larva to adult, contributes to ecological stability. The larvae aerate the earth as they burrow, helping water and nutrients reach deeper layers. The adults serve as pollinators for certain night-blooming plants, carrying traces of pollen as they rest on flowers between flights. And when their short lives end, their tiny bodies return nutrients to the soil, feeding the roots of grasses and trees. Light, in this cycle, becomes a signal of life itself, not only for firefly, but for the world that hosts it. In the wetlands and forests where fireflies thrive, their presence often signals a healthy ecosystem. They depend on clean water, natural soil moisture, and unpolluted air. When their lights vanish, it's often a quiet warning that the land is changing, that pollution, pesticides, or habitat loss are dimming the night. So, their glow isn't only beautiful, It's diagnostic, a living indicator of environmental health. When scientists study where fireflies flourish or fade, they are, in a way, listening to the Earth's whisper through the language of light, beyond their local habitats. The glow of fireflies plays a larger role in the rhythm of life on our planet. They are part of a lineage of bioluminescent organisms, creatures that light the world from beneath the waves, across the forest floor, and into the night sky. From the glowing fungi on fallen logs, to the radiant plankton that turns ocean waves into blue fire, to the silent firefly drifting over a meadow, all share a single chemical secret: luciferin and luciferase. This ancient chemistry has existed for millions of years, across species that never met, across worlds that never touched. And yet, they all found light as a way to communicate, to survive, to protect, and to connect. It's humbling to realize that when a firefly glows, it is echoing an ancient signal, one that the ocean still remembers and the forests still repeat. The ecological role of glowing is not about dominance or control. It's about harmony, gentle coordination between beings. The firefly's light reminds the night's creatures where to move, when to hide, when to seek. It speaks to the bats above, the frogs below, and even to us, reminding us that beauty is function, and function can be beautiful. And so, every summer night that fills with fireflies is a quiet celebration of balance, an ecosystem still breathing in rhythm, still connected to the faint pulse of life. The next time you see a firefly glowing softly in the dark, know that its light is doing more than shining. It is working, protecting, guiding, feeding, and balancing. It's part of a language that nature has spoken for eons, and we, as quiet observers, are lucky enough to understand a small piece of it, because in that small flash of light is written the story of life itself, the story of how even the smallest creatures can keep the world glowing. It's easy to think of fireflies as familiar summer companions, those small golden lights that drift lazily above the grass. But beyond our backyards, far beyond the meadows and parks we know, there lies an astonishing world of diversity, a hidden galaxy of glowing species scattered across the earth. There are not just a few types of fireflies, but more than 2,000 different species known so far, and perhaps hundreds more still waiting to be discovered. Each one carries the same quiet magic, yet each expresses it in its own, beautifully unique way. Some live in tropical forests thick with mist and vines, their glow barely visible through the canopy. Others live in cool mountain valleys, flickering softly along rivers and streams. Some stay close to the soil, others climb into trees and dance among the leaves, while a few even prefer marshlands where air and water mingle. From the rice fields of Japan, to the mangrove forests of Malaysia, to the prairies of North America, fireflies have found a way to belong everywhere. Their light connects them all, a universal signature, even as the rhythms and colors vary. If you travel to different parts of the world, you'll begin to notice subtle differences in their glow. In Japan, the firefly's light is slow and meditative. Long pulses that flow like breath, reflected on the surface of still rivers. In the dense jungles of Thailand, entire trees pulse together, their branches turning into living constellations. And in the southern United States, the fields light up with countless independent flashes, like sparks scattered by an unseen hand. No two places look the same, and that's the quiet miracle of it. Each region, each climate, each landscape has shaped its own glowing language. Scientists have found that different firefly species evolve their own unique glow patterns, not just in rhythm, but in color too. Most glow a gentle yellow-green, but some species emit light that leans more toward amber or even pale blue. The wavelength of that glow depends on tiny variations in their chemical makeup, a small difference in luciferin molecules, or the pH of their light organs. These small differences have painted the world in subtle shades of firefly light. In the forests of Central America, you might see golden flashes that flicker rapidly among the trees. In the wetlands of Asia, the light might feel cooler, greener, more like a breath of water and mist. And in tropical islands, some species emit light that's faintly bluish, a rare hue that gives their glow a ghostly, dreamlike quality. The diversity doesn't stop at color. It extends to behavior, to timing, and even to how these insects choose to display their light. In North America, many species glow while flying, painting trails through the air. But in parts of South America, the fireflies prefer to stay still, glowing from the tips of tall grasses like anchored lanterns. In Australia, some species flash only once or twice each night, saving their energy for brief, precise signals. And in Africa's wetlands, certain species synchronize their flashes so perfectly that large colonies light up in a single, unified pulse, a glowing wave that sweeps across the reeds like a heartbeat. It's as if every region on Earth has composed its own light symphony, with each species contributing a different note. And when you think about it, this makes perfect sense. The world is vast, filled with countless climates and ecosystems. Every environment asks its creatures to adapt, to speak in the language that suits their home best. Fireflies, through their light, have done exactly that. They've turned adaptation into art. Some of the world's most breathtaking firefly gatherings are found in unexpected places. In the Great Smoky Mountains of the United States, thousands of fireflies of the species Photinus carolinus gather each summer to perform a natural spectacle that feels almost supernatural. They flash in synchrony, brief bursts followed by moments of complete darkness, as if the forest itself were breathing. People travel from far away just to witness it, sitting in silence as time seems to slow, wrapped in pulse of living light. Across the world in Malaysia, another species, Pteroptyx malacci, gathers in the mangrove trees along riverbanks. They, too, synchronize, whole trees blinking together like organic lanterns beside the water. Fishermen and travelers often describe it as standing in a forest of stars, where each leaf seems to glow with life. In Japan, the fireflies, called a toru, hold a special place in culture and poetry. Their brief season of light each summer symbolizes both beauty and impermanence, a gentle reminder of how precious each moment is. Even today, people gather near rivers to watch the Genjibo fireflies glow, honoring a tradition that stretches back centuries. In tropical South America, the diversity is astonishing. Some species live their entire lives in tree canopies, others in marshes or along sandy coasts. There are even click beetles, distant cousins of true fireflies, that glow from both their head and abdomen, giving the impression of tiny twin headlights moving through the grass. And then there are the rare mountain fireflies, whose glow is so faint you must sit quietly and wait for your eyes to adjust. Their light is gentle, slow, and pure, a kind of whisper that only the still night can hear. What ties all these creatures together, despite the miles between them, is their shared secret, the ability to turn energy into light, life into radiance, chemistry into poetry. It's a story told across continents, through jungles and meadows, deserts and lakes. The world is wider than we imagine, and within it, fireflies remind us of how unity can exist through difference. So, When you next see a firefly in your own home garden or field, know that it is not alone. It belongs to a family spread across the planet. 2,000 voices glowing in different rhythms, yet all speaking the same luminous truth. That light is life's quiet way of saying, I am here. Once upon a time, on warm summer nights, the air above meadows and rivers shimmered with light. Tiny golden sparks drifted through the darkness, rising and falling like breathing stars. But in many places around the world, that glow has grown dim. The fireflies, those ancient messengers of light, are quietly vanishing. It's a disappearance so gentle, so silent, that few notice it happening. There's no sound, no sudden collapse, only a gradual fading. Each year, fewer lights appear, fewer dances begin, and the night grows a little darker. Scientists have begun to call it the quiet extinction, and though it may not make headlines, the mystery behind it touches something deep within us. Because when fireflies fade, a part of our shared wonder fades too. Why are they disappearing? Why are these creatures, so perfectly adapted to the rhythms of nature, struggling in the modern world? The answers, like the insect themselves, are small, delicate, and deeply connected to the way we live. One of the most powerful reasons is something we rarely think about: light pollution. For millions of years, the night sky was dark. The moon, the stars, and the faint shimmer of bioluminescence were the only sources of light. Fireflies evolved in this darkness, learning to use their own glow as a private language, a code of love and survival. But now, our nights are filled with light of another kind. Street lamps, house lights, glowing billboards, headlights on distant roads. They all spill into the places where fireflies once thrived. To human eyes, these artificial lights feel harmless, even comforting. But to a firefly, they are overwhelming. They're flashing signals. Those subtle rhythms of communication are drowned out in the glare. Males flash into the night, calling out for a mate, but their light goes unseen. Females wait in the grass, ready to answer, but they can no longer tell one signal from another. The dance breaks apart. The conversation ends before it begins. In some places, entire populations have vanished, simply because the nights grew too bright. And the saddest part is, it happens slowly, quietly, until the glow is gone and no one remembers when it disappeared. Beyond the lights, there's another invisible threat: habitat loss. Fireflies are delicate in their needs. They thrive where moisture lingers, near ponds, streams, or damp forest floors. When those places are drained, paved, or built over, the life cycle breaks. Their larvae live in the soil, feeding on tiny snails and worms. But when pesticides seep into ground, or the soil dries from climate change, even that hidden stage of life can no longer continue. And so, the next generation never comes. But there's still hope, a soft, glowing kind of hope, flickering quietly across the world. In recent years, scientists, conservationists, and even small communities have begun to notice, to care, and to act. They've started to create dark sky reserves, places where artificial lights are limited, allowing natural darkness to return. In those areas, fireflies have begun to reappear. First a few, then many. It's proof that the light never truly leaves. It only waits for its moment to come back. In Japan, volunteers clean riverbanks each year to prepare for a Taru season. In the United States, citizen scientists track firefly populations through summer, mapping where they still thrive and where they've disappeared. In India and Thailand, Eco-tours now teach travelers how to watch fireflies without disturbing them. No flashlights, no loud sounds, only reverent silence beneath the trees. These efforts, though small, are acts of remembrance, reminders that wonder's fragile, but not lost. And maybe that's the lesson fireflies have always carried, that beauty and survival are both found in balance, between light and dark, nature and progress, awareness and forgetfulness. When we switch off unnecessary lights, when we let a patch of grass grow wild, when we choose care over convenience, the night responds. Slowly, quietly, the fireflies return. Their glow is more than a scientific marvel. It's a reflection of harmony, the earth speaking back in pulses of light. So if you ever find yourself on a still summer night, far from the city's hum, look toward the edges of the dark. If you're lucky, you might see a single golden flicker. It will appear, disappear, and appear again like a heartbeat in the night. That tiny light carries an ancient message, one that has glowed across millions of years. That life, when given space to breathe, always finds its way back to brilliance. When we speak of light, we often think of creation, of warmth, of hope, of beginnings. And when we speak of fireflies, their light carries something deeper, a memory, a wish, a quiet link between the natural world and our sense of wonder. So when their numbers began to fade, people across the world started to notice. First, it was a sense of sadness, a longing for summer nights that no longer sparkled. But slowly, quietly, that sadness turned into care, and that care into movement. Around the world, scientists, nature lovers, and entire communities are working to bring the fireflies back, to restore the dark, to clean the rivers, to replant the forests, to let the soft language of light return to the night. Let's drift together through these stories, gentle efforts glowing across the globe. In Japan, the firefly, or a true, has long been a symbol of the soul. Each summer, families gathered by riversides to watch them. When their light began to fade in the 1970s, local children, teachers, and elders joined hands. They cleaned polluted streams, reduced chemical runoff, and planted native reeds where larvae once thrived. And then, slowly, the light returned. Now, some villages hold Ataru festivals not just for beauty, but for gratitude, a celebration of balance restored. Across the Pacific, in the United States, awareness has grown quietly but steadily. National parks and small communities alike have begun to recognize the importance of keeping the nights dark. In the Great Smoky Mountains, one of the most famous gatherings of synchronous fireflies takes place each year. Hundreds of people travel there, but in peaceful silence, guided by rangers who teach visitors how to protect the fragile insects. No flashlights, no loud voices, only a dim red glow to guide their steps. And in that silence, thousands of tiny lights pulse together, like breathing stars beneath the forest canopy. Further south, near the wetland of Florida and Louisiana, citizen scientists map firefly sightings, sending data to universities that study population changes. It's slow work, patient work, but that's the rhythm of nature, gentle, deliberate, and full of meaning. In Southeast Asia, entire communities have turned their rivers into sanctuaries. In Malaysia and Thailand, mangrove forests once glowed like galaxies at dusk, but tourism and overdevelopment dimmed their light. Now, new rules protect these magical places. Eco-guides teach visitors to drift quietly by boat, using no flash, no engines, just the slow paddling sound of water against wood. Fireflies hover above the trees again, reflecting in the still river, as if the stars have come down to rest for a while. And in Europe, meadows that have been lost to construction and pesticides are being re-wielded. In England, conservation groups now encourage gardeners to leave parts of their lawns wild, to plant native grasses, and to avoid artificial lights during the summer months. In the Czech Republic, researchers use gentle light sensors to study when and where fireflies appear, helping them understand how urban light affects their nightly patterns. These projects may seem small, a darkened porch light, a single clean stream, a patch of restored wetland. But when you look closely, each act glows. Each act is a tiny flicker, a sign that care still exists in the human heart. Even children's groups now take part. In some schools, students raise awareness by making firefly lanterns, glass jars filled with soft golden LEDs, symbolizing the life they're helping protect. It's not just about saving an insect. It's about remembering how to see the night again. Scientists continue to study how fireflies interact with their environment, how small changes in temperature, humidity, or soil can make or break a population. Through collaboration, through shared data, and through respect, a quiet global network of guardians is formed. Each glowing field, each reawakened riverbank, each darkened neighborhood sky, they all tell a story that when we listen closely, the earth teaches us how to care again. The fireflies are patient teachers. They remind us that light is not something we must create endlessly, but something we must protect gently, quietly, together. The night is still, and somewhere in the distance, a faint, golden flicker moves through the dark. It's small, fragile, but unmistakably alive. A firefly, carrying its tiny lantern, glowing softly against the endless black. When we watch that light, something stirs inside us. It's more than curiosity, more than wonder. It's a sense of belonging, a reminder that even in darkness, beauty continues to breathe. Throughout this quiet journey, we've wandered through science and soul. We've learned how chemistry turns to light, how luciferin and luciferase whisper together in a dance of molecules. We followed the firefly through forests and fields, through rivers and rain, through moments of love and survival. We've seen the impact of our world upon theirs, and how simple acts of care can bring them back. And now, as we near the end of this gentle discovery, one thought remains, glowing softly within the heart. The firefly's light is not eternal, but its meaning is. It reminds us, always, that brilliance doesn't need to be loud. It doesn't need to burn forever, or blaze across the sky. Sometimes, the most beautiful light is the one that flickers softly, just long enough to be seen, before fading gracefully back into the night. In many cultures, fireflies are seen as spirits, symbols of memory, of ancestors, or even of fleeting joy. In Japan, people once believed that when a soul left the body, it became a firefly, rising into the warm summer air, shining only long enough to say farewell. In other places, they were thought to be carriers of dreams, the guardians of night wanderers, lighting the path for those lost in darkness. Perhaps that's what they are to us now, gentle guides. They remind us that light exists not to overwhelm the dark, but to live within it, that we too can glow quietly, without heat, without noise. When we care for the earth, when we leave a garden wild, when we let the night be dark enough for the stars to show, we make space for that light to return. And when we see it in the soft summer air, we remember something ancient. That life, however small, is sacred when allowed to shine in its own rhythm. Fireflies, like all delicate wonders, are storytellers. They speak in pulses and pauses, in the language of nature's breath. Each blink of light says, I am here. And perhaps, if we listen with our hearts, it also says, so are you. So tonight, as you rest, imagine the night around you growing still. The hum of the world softens, the air cools, and somewhere far beyond your window, a tiny glow begins. It flickers once, then again, and then many more join it. Thousands of small lights moving like a slow, celestial river. They float in silence, each one a heartbeat of the earth, each one a reminder of calm, connection, and care. The fireflies have no rush, no urgency. They simply glow because that is what they were made to do. Maybe we are the same. Maybe our role in this vast and restless world is simply to glow where we can, with kindness, with gentleness, with love. So as this story draws to a close, let the calm settle around you. Let your breath slow, your eyes grow heavy, and your thoughts drift like quiet lights in the dark. May your night be gentle. May your dreams be filled with soft, golden glimmers. And may you always remember the quiet reminder the fireflies bring, that even the smallest light, shining softly, can be enough to guide us through the dark. Good night, dear listener. Sleep peacefully, and may your dreams glow with the tender light of the fireflies.